Stacey Schildroth with 360 Yield Center, and today we're going to be talking about winter storage for your SOILSCAN machine. Now we're getting close to prepping all of our equipment outside and getting ready for the cold winter months ahead, and so we just want to make sure that you maintain your SOILSCAN and take care of that and prepare it for the winter months ahead as well too. So the first thing that you're going to want to do with the tank behind you here, you're going to want to drain any leftover water out of that so that it's empty. And then secondly, what you want to do is we're going to switch over these sensors from the short term in the 4-chamber calibration bottle over to the long-term storage. This is very similar to what you do if you don't use your machine within 24 hours where we put those small storage bottles on. So we're going to run through these steps again just as a reminder and a refresher for you on how to store for winter and long-term storage. So the first thing you'll need to do is just remove the calibration bottle. Go ahead and dump out the standard solution that's in there, and feel free to rinse it out and clean that out so that when you come back to it in the spring next season that you'll be ready to go with that with a clean bottle. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our long-term storage bottles. These are the storage bottles that came on the sensors when you received the machine, and we have an NO3 storage bottle here, and we have a storage bottle for the referenced electrodes. So we're going to take both of these and just put them back on the machine. Now it's very important to follow this carefully because we have one that's stored wet and one that's stored dry, so be aware what we need to do as far as which one we need to store dry and wet. So first off, we're going to take the NO3 storage bottle. This says to always store the sensor dry. This is for your gray nitrate sensor here. Now, when I remove the calibration bottle, I'm not going to worry about rinsing and drying it off. If this sensor is a little wet going into storage, that's fine. It can have a moist environment. We just don't want it to be soaking in any standard solution or any distilled water. So that bottle should stay empty and in a dry environment that way. So what we're going to do is just unscrew this cap a little bit so it's easier to get on, and just slide it up just about so it's a ½ an inch from the top there, and then screw the cap right on there tight. We don't want to be able to let any air in there or any other debris or anything that might come with it as well. Secondly, go ahead and take your reference electrode bottle, and from here we're going to store this one wet with some standard solution. So you can take your standard solution, which is your N7 pH, fill this bottle up a little bit over ½ to 3/4 full. You can put the cap on loose on that one too, and then we're going to slide this one up here too on the red reference electrode. That one we do want it to soak. And you do want to make sure the lid is secure on that, otherwise you'll get air in there and your standard solution will evaporate throughout the season. And if your standard solution evaporates and leaves it in a dry environment, then you're going to have a bad reference electrode starting out the season next year. So just make sure that that is screwed on tightly and it's on securely so that you're not having to worry about any evaporation taking place on that end of it. Secondly, what we're going to do is we're just going to remove the iPad. And you'll just want to store this how you would any other electronic device too. So within 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Go ahead and store it. We say the same thing for your SOILSCAN machine. Treat it how you would treat your iPad. So keep it inside in a maintained condition of within 60 to 80 degrees. Finally, the last thing, if you have any extra tips, go ahead and store those with the machine at room temperature too. If they have not been used, keep them in their original packing material and just put them in the case along with your SOILSCAN machine. So those are really just the basic steps you need to follow. The most important ones are just to make sure that you have your storage bottles on correctly, that you have your nitrate gray sensor that's stored dry, and your red reference electrode sensor should be stored wet on there too. And then go ahead, pack everything up in the case and just put it in a mild environment for the winter and pull it out next spring.